Hey everyone, and welcome to Top Think. Today we're going to learn about 6 bad habits that make you lazy. Now, let's begin. Number 1. Bedtime browsing. After a long day at work, it's tempting to just lie in bed, pull out your phone, and mindlessly browse the internet. When you scroll through social media profiles or play your favorite mobile game, you get a chance to turn off your brain, to stop thinking, and just relax. In the moment, a little bedtime browsing seems completely harmless, right? How much damage could an hour or two on your phone really do? In terms of productivity, the answer might surprise you. Staring at your phone before bed can make you slower, lazier, and less motivated than ever, because it takes a serious toll on your normal sleep cycle. For starters, the light emitted by your phone screen keeps you awake longer. It stops your brain from producing a sleep hormone called melatonin, which regulates your sleep cycle. When melatonin reaches your brain, it tells your body that it's time for bed. But without melatonin, your body doesn't feel drowsy. Instead of slowly winding down into a deep sleep, you lay there, tossing and turning for hours. By the time you finally fall asleep, your sleep cycle is gonna be way off. Your REM cycles aren't going to line up like they should, which means your brain has less time to store new memories. Deep sleep is when your brain logs everything you saw, heard, and learned into your long-term memory. But without REM sleep, that storage never happens. To make matters worse, your brain won't have enough time to properly recharge. Every night, it detoxifies and rejuvenates itself. That way, it can function at full capacity the next day. But if that doesn't happen, your cognitive performance is going to suffer. Obviously, these deficits don't bode well for your productivity. When your brain doesn't get enough sleep, you're left feeling cloudy and sluggish. Your mood tanks and the quality of your work slips, all because you decided to browse your phone before bed. So don't set yourself up for a day of laziness. Turn your screens off at least an hour before you go to sleep. If you're really itching to do something, read a book, listen to a podcast, or spend some time reflecting on the day. Any of these activities will gently guide you into a restful sleep, giving your brain plenty of time to get ready for another productive day. Number 2. A pattern of excuses. We've all made excuses at some point. Maybe you got out of going to a party by saying you had a stomach ache, or you might have made up a phone call to worm your way out of an awkward conversation. In many ways, excuses have become a natural part of our everyday social interactions. You use them to avoid hurting people's feelings or get yourself out of an uncomfortable situation. But if you make too many excuses, it can have a huge impact on your productivity. Now, 1 or 2 excuses won't do very much damage, but the more excuses you make, the more of a habit it becomes. You get used to avoiding your responsibilities. You start running away from anything and everything you don't like. Over time, it feels more and more natural, until eventually, you're making excuses all the time. Without realizing it, your excuses conditioned you to be lazy. And the worst part is, you can use the same excuses to justify your lack of self-discipline. When someone asks why you haven't achieved any of your goals, you'll find yourself running away from the real problem. Instead, you'll keep thinking of new excuses, new reasons why you're stuck in the exact same position you were weeks, months, or even years ago. So don't fall into this dangerous pattern of excuses. You need to face your problems head-on to make any real progress in your life. If you're continuously making excuses, you'll never strengthen your willpower or learn the important lessons that failure can teach you. So don't let this bad habit take over your life and destroy your work ethic. So instead of saying, "I'll do it tomorrow," over and over again, take it upon yourself to start today. I guarantee you won't regret it. Number 3. Constant caffeine. Caffeine is the most popular energy booster in the world today. Millions of people around the world use coffee, soda, and energy drinks to kick their brains into high gear, survive long hours at work, and power through those tough projects. But most people don't realize how caffeine affects your productivity. Yeah, it does give you a big burst of energy at first, but your daily cup of joe is actually making you lazier in the long run. Each time you rely on caffeine to be productive, you're becoming more dependent on that boost to get things done. Slowly but surely, you'll forget how to motivate yourself without caffeine, and your normal, decaffeinated self will get more and more sluggish. So try to keep your caffeine consumption under control. Otherwise, this bad habit will make you lazy in no time. Number 4. Petty procrastination. Some of the most efficient people procrastinate the most trivial things. You might be motivated and productive at work or at school. You might be the first one to show up at every meeting and volunteer for every project. But when you have to do something simple like taking out the trash, you put it off for days or weeks at a time. What is it about these little chores that make us procrastinate? The simple answer is they feel like a waste of time. Even if they only take about 30 seconds, very few people like to spend their time doing the dishes or cleaning their bathroom. It's annoying and tedious, so you procrastinate without realizing how it's affecting your work ethic. The bad news is, each time you put off a chore, you're training your brain to be a little lazier. You're telling yourself that it's okay to procrastinate as long as it's not something important. But throughout your life, you'll run into all kinds of jobs that seem useless. You'll feel frustrated. You'll feel like your time could be better spent doing something else. But you never know when that grueling busy work will come in handy. Any random chore could be a stepping stone towards something greater. So you need the grit to tough it out and trudge through the rough patches. Now, of course, that kind of work ethic takes time to develop. It's a mindset that you nurture throughout your life by persevering through horrible jobs and frustrating chores. So whenever you have to do something annoying around the house, don't let yourself procrastinate, or this bad habit will tear apart your work ethic one pointless chore at a time. Number 5. Poor communication. How often do you talk to your friends and family? This number tends to fluctuate depending on your individual preferences. Some people see their friends every day or their family once a week. Others are so busy that they only see their loved ones a few times a month. But even the most infrequent communicators can have healthy relationships with their friends and family. Because when it comes to communication, quality matters a lot more than quantity. Just think about the last time you hung out with your friends or you spent time with your parents. What'd you talk about? What activities did you do together? Many people see their loved ones all the time, but they fail to connect with them on a deeper level, and it leaves them feeling lonely, neglected, and desperate for attention. But what does all this have to do with being lazy? Well, when you don't communicate properly with your friends and family, you're actually hurting your productivity. You're decreasing your motivation and damaging your self-esteem. Because when you know that someone cares about you, it makes you work harder. Their support inspires you to achieve and make them proud of your success. If you want to live a productive and fulfilling life, communicate with your loved ones on a regular basis. Something as simple as a good conversation can stop your laziness in its tracks. Number 6. Skipping seconds. How many times do you experiment with something before you start to lose hope? In an ideal world, you'd nail it on your first try, right? But more often than not, your first attempt is going to end in disaster. So what do you do after you fail? Is that the end of the road, or do you get up, dust yourself off, and give it another shot? Many people get in the habit of bailing right away. They abandon ship at the smallest sign of failure and become convinced that they've made the right decision. You'll hear them say things like, I didn't want to be an artist anyway, or the whole system is rigged. It's a really bad habit, and it's taking a toll on their productivity. When you get used to quitting early, it makes you lazy. You forget how to fight for your own success, and you stop putting in your best effort. Why? Well, because you're worried about failing. You're scared of dedicating all that time and energy only to come up short in the end. It's a horrible feeling. I think that's something everyone can agree on. But that doesn't mean you should quit every job or give up on every challenge. If you want to stop yourself from getting lazy, never settle for a single shot. Hey, thank you for watching Top Think, and be sure to subscribe because more incredible content is on the way.